Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Carla Burrola and today I will be talking a little bit about the Subculture palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This palette has had a lot of different kind of opinions, so if you guys want to learn what's mine and want to learn a little bit of how I use this palette and the tricks that I use to use the shades in this palette, then keep on watching. So here's the palette. I love the packaging. It's the same as the Modern Renaissance, it's like a velvety feel to the packaging. I think it's very beautiful. This time they did make it darker. The last one, the Modern Renaissance, was pink, and to be honest, it's really hard to take care of it because it gets dirty with other makeup and fingerprints and all of that. This color I do love because it's just easier to keep it clean. I've been using this palette quite a lot. As you guys can see, the shadows are, well, they've been used. So I'm just gonna go through and do a quick look with it, and I hope you guys like this video, and let's just go right into it. So I'm gonna start with my palette. I'm gonna start with the shade Edge, this yellow one, and I'm just gonna apply this all over my eyelid, just all the way in, and I'm gonna use this as my transitional color. So guys, this palette is extremely pigmented, so you have to be careful with it. I think a lot of what it is with this palette, as you can tell, mine, it doesn't have a lot of fallout or anything. It stayed pretty clean. I've been using it a lot of times. So what you just have to do, you just get your brush and literally just place it on top of it, and then you just start blending it on your eyes. You don't need to press, you don't need to rub or anything like that. That's what I've been learning from this palette. It's extremely pigmented, so you just go like that and you get a really good payoff. So we're just going to start blending this shade into our crease. And as I said before, this shadow is extremely pigmented, so this is me just literally putting my brush, just tapping it like this. Literally guys, it's just, you really don't need any more than that. You just start building it. I love this palette because I can just go in and start building the intensity that I want with each of the tones. So another tip for this palette is when you get your brush just dipped in the shadow that you're gonna use, start where you want the shadow to be the more intense. So for me, with this shade, I want it to be more intense right here in this part on my crease. So I'm gonna start there and then start blending it inwards. So where you place your brush the first time, that's where the pigment will stick and stand out more. So as you can see, this color is very easy to blend. It slides on really smoothly, and the pigmentation and the payoff is amazing. So here's my palette. You guys just saw I haven't done anything to it. Nothing's dripping or falling out or anything like that. The palette looks pretty good. That is because I just tapped my brush into it. I didn't rub or went around with my brush like this, nothing. I didn't dust anything off. I just literally just tapped. There is a little bit of fallout here, but that's how every palette works. So nothing crazy if you use it correctly. I will be taking the orangey shade, this one right here, and this one is called New Wave. So I'm just gonna get, and just remember you guys, with this palette, just literally just press. So I'm gonna start in my outer V. I'm just starting to blend that color. So I'm gonna go into with my concealer, Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I love this concealer. Just gonna get my beauty blender and just tap that. I'm going back with that brush, the blending brush that we first started with, and I'm just going to blend the edges of it so it's not that rough. I'm going with the shade Adorn, this one right here. So this is without wetting my brush. Obviously, if you want a more vibrant and intense look, you can wet the brush on the shimmery ones. I'm gonna go in to another of the shimmery shades, and it's Electric. This green reflective shade. I love this shade, it's so different and it's just so unique. And I'm just going to apply that on the inner part of my eye. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take any setting spray. I love the Master Fix one, so this is the one I use on a daily basis. So I'm just going to take my Morphe brush and then just wet it like this. And I'm going into that same shade, Electric. And I'm just going to dip my brush just like this. And then just apply it for a more vibrant look. I'm actually going back again with Adorn, but I'm gonna wet the brush this time, and then just filling in on top of what I have already applied for a more intense look. With that same brush, without adding in more of the product, just going over that on the crease. So the last shade I'm gonna use from the palette is Fudge. This one right here, the brown one. I'm going to apply this on my outer crease and just tapping it like that. That's all you need. And I'm just going to focus this on my crease just to add dimension and intensity. So I just use this shade to darken everything and give it more dimension, a little more pop. And I'm just focusing that on the outer V part of my eye. With New Wave, and I'm going to apply this on my bottom lash line, and then with that yellow one, I'm just going to focus on the center of my lower lash line. So if you guys want to clean up this look, then you can use a little bit of concealer. There you guys have it. I'm going to apply some eyeliner and some eyelashes, and I will be right back. I just applied some eyeliner, I created a wing line, and then just added some eyelashes to my eyes for a more dramatic look. Okay guys, so now I'm going to add some glow to my face using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit. And I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills 823 highlighting brush. And I'm just going to wait for that to dry a little bit. But on top of that, for a more glossy look, I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Gloss and Color Gilded. So it looks like this. Okay guys, so that was the end of this tutorial for you guys. This is the look that I came up with. I have been using this palette for quite a while, ever since it came out. I ordered it as soon as it launched on their website, and so I've had some time to work with it. The palette itself, it looks so beautiful. This is what my palette looks like after using it. There's no major fallout, as you guys can tell. So as far as the fallout, there is clearly some fallout. Like, we can see that if we go in with the brush and we rub it in, you guys have seen in other people's reviews that there's gonna be a lot of fallout, obviously. I do know that this palette is not meant to be used like so. So these shadows are super extremely pigmented, and they do have a lot of payoff once you apply it on the eye. There is fallout, but if you use it very carefully and the way it's supposed to be used, the way it's meant to be used, you won't experience any major problems with it. As you can tell, mine is just normal. I mean, it's dusty, but that's pretty normal. Comparing to other palettes, every palette is gonna have a little bit of fallout. I mean, the way I've been using mine, and I've been using mine for quite a while now, almost like a month or so. All the colors look good. The palette, it hasn't fallen apart from me or anything like that. So when I first got this palette in the mail, I was super excited about it. So I opened my palette and I wanted to play with it right away. So I just started grabbing brushes and I was just dipping in it, and I applied it on my eye the first time I ever used. And honestly, you guys, like, I made a big mess on my face. I wasn't able to blend the colors that well. I made a mess in my eyes. The colors that I was putting together weren't working with me, and I was just so like, I was actually very impressed because the pigmentation and the colors were so beautiful, yet it was very hard to work with, to be honest. I hadn't seen any reviews when I first tried this palette out, so I had no idea what I was going in for. The thing that kind of made me be more intrigued to the palette, and it made me kind of want to be more, it just kind of challenged me in a way. So I was just so amazed by the pigmentation of the colors, and the colors were so beautiful once applied to the eyes that I was like, okay, let me just figure out how this works, because I realized once I went in with my brush as a normal palette, it obviously made a mess on my face. So once I started watching how they were using the palette, the models from Anastasia Beverly Hills and her company, they were teaching on Instagram and other social media on how to apply the palette, I started realizing that I was using the palette the wrong way. So then I started going back and just like I showed you guys, just like slightly like tapping like that and then applying and blending to the eye, and it just changed the way that this palette was working for me. Ever since then, I have fallen in love with this palette. Like, it's just so amazing what you can do and the looks that you can create with it. This is like one of the many looks that I've been working and making with this palette. The color range is just so unique, and to be honest, you guys, like, I feel like we kind of have to understand what goes behind the making of a product. I feel like we have to understand their philosophy and where they're coming from. I see this palette as a very artistic palette, as we can tell, and if we go back to what Anastasia Beverly Hills has been making, for instance, we see the palette where we got the lipstick, the palette where you can see there's a bunch of ranges of colors so you can mix and create your own shade. That palette, I feel like it was very artistic. It gave us an option as makeup artists and makeup enthusiasts and makeup lovers to mix and match the colors that we would want to create by ourselves, making us feel like our own true artists. So I felt like that was very amazing. Usually if you look at the past, like, that was not available for any of the public unless you were a makeup artist. They wouldn't really sell stuff to you like that back in the day if you weren't a real makeup artist or if you weren't working in that industry. So for me, when I saw that, I thought it was very amazing and I thought it was super creative, and they were giving us an opportunity to work with that kind of product. They were giving us an opportunity to blend colors and create our own colors. I've learned that as artists, people don't always like to work with the same media, just the same mediums, you know. Some work with oils, some work with acrylics. We have so many different mediums to work with as artists, you know, and the artist community, I'm pretty sure that you guys can agree with me that everyone has their own specific medium to work with. I feel that the Subculture palette is that. It's an option. It's a new formula that I've never seen anything like it, to be honest, in a palette like this. I have used other like pigments and shadows are really pigmented, loose powders, loose shadows, but this in a palette I had never seen. So I feel like the Subculture palette is giving this to us. It's another medium for us to use and work with as makeup lovers that we are. So personally, I love that idea and I love the philosophy behind it. I think it's amazing. I see this palette as something new, something very fresh and very unique for us to work with as makeup artists. For me, it's a challenge for sure. I was challenged by this palette, but I love that about it. It made me work with makeup in a way that I hadn't before. It's another medium, it's another tool for me to have in my makeup kit. I love how they are making the palette so different from any other thing that I have in my collection and any of my other palettes. If I think this is worth it, I totally do think it's worth it. Is it hard to work with? Yes, it's a very challenging palette. Even to start learning how to mix these tones together, I feel like it's challenging even to the point where you have to work with the colors, or it's not that easy to mix any color together and make it look good. You have to kind of know how to work with color. I love how the formula helps me to have a more variety for me to work with in my makeup collection. I love how I can have this extra tool in my collection, and that is why I love this palette. It has challenged me in different ways that other palettes haven't, and that is why I love this palette. It's another medium for me to work with, and when I want to create a look that this palette offers, I have the tool for me to grab it and use it and work with it. So that is why I love this palette. If you are a makeup beginner, I wouldn't, not that I don't recommend it, but it is a harder palette. If you want something really simple, very easy to use, there's other palettes that you could probably buy and would be better for you. If you're a makeup lover and want to have a variety of palettes and products and formulas in your collection, then this is the palette for you. If you love challenge and you love making new looks and creating new things and just playing with makeup, this is the palette for you. I love that, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you guys get to create a lot of different looks with this palette. I am personally in love with it. It is one of my favorites in my collection for sure, and I will be doing more tutorials and more looks with this palette so you guys can see what I start creating and how I get better at it. So this is a look that I came up with. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this tutorial is useful to you guys. If you guys have any questions about the palette or how to use it, just comment below and I will be answering any questions that you guys have. So thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate you guys watching my videos and subscribing to my channel, and thank you for all your support, and I will see you guys in the next one.